Thank you, Holy Spirit. All praises to Ahaya Kised. That's all praises to Anokised. That's all praises to the great I Am, loving kindness. Bahashem Yeshaya. Bahashem Motsa, the Lamb. In the name of the Messiah, the Hamashiach. Shalom, family. This is little son Sabal, Nabaya. Family, today we are going to uncover some amazing truths about the 10 northern tribes, but more specifically about those that settled in Japan. We're going to go into some history, and we're going to look at some cold, hard, irrefutable facts. Did I say that word right? Facts. Facts. F-A-C-T-S. That one. That's the word. So family, let's go ahead and jump right into this lesson. Let's begin in 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verses 40 through 45. That's 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verses 40 through 45. It says, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Oshé, the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep there their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely 1.5 years, and the same region is called Arsareth. So family, I already did a lesson a few years ago actually, that went in depth about where it is that I think the 10 tribes were taken to. However, we have never talked about those remnants that were left. You see, when you study where they were taken and how they were taken, you see that some of them went one way, some of them went another way, and others of them went even a third way. So we're going to talk about those of them that actually went into the land, those of them that went and traveled all across what you would call modern day Europe and Asia. But we're going to save that part for later in this presentation. First, I just want to point out some amazing similarities between the Japanese and the Hebrew culture. I say Hebrew, let me be specific. I want to point out some amazing similarities between the Japanese and the Israelite culture. So family, the ancient Japanese religion that many of them believed in ancient times was called Shinto. I want to show you a diagram of an Israelite tabernacle next to a Shinto shrine. Let's take a look. Look at this diagram that I have up here on the screen right now. So family, Japanese Shinto shrines and Israelite tabernacles are really similar in many ways. The inside of the Israelite shrines are divided into two parts, and so are Israelite tabernacles. The holy place, the Haidin, and the Holy of Holies, the Handen, are in the same places in the temple. No one except Shinto priests and special ones can enter inside the holy place and the Holy of Holies. Therefore, the Japanese often pray in front of its holy place. This custom is the same as the Israelite tabernacles. The location of the Japanese Holy of Holies is generally located in the far west or far north to the shrine, and the Israelite Holy of Holies is located in the far west of the temple. In the Japanese Shinto shrine, the Holy of Holies is located higher than the holy place, and there are steps between them. Now family, you know how I feel about the entire tabernacle versus temple conversation if you've been following me for some time. But I just wanted to point out that the temple Solomon built was said to have steps in it as well. Again, we have pulled the draws off in the past. We have pulled the draws off of temple religion and Solomon, but we're not going into that right now. Now family, let me ask you guys something. Have you ever went to eat at a Japanese restaurant and noticed sitting in front of the restaurant statues of two lions? Yeah, they have statues of two lions in front of a lot of these Japanese restaurants. Well, family, this is a common thing that they used to do with these Shinto shrines. They would put statues of lions, two lions, out in front of the Japanese shrines. These Shinto shrines would have two lions out in front of them. But family, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a lion in Japan? Japan does not have any lions. So, what are they doing putting lions in front of their shrines? Getting back to this diagram, the laver and the, I don't know how to pronounce this word, Timizuya, these are the places where you would wash up inside of the shrine or the tabernacle. And both of them have these places. Washing is important because it symbolizes purification in both disciplines. Also, the entrance or the gate was placed in the same way in both of these temples. Well, I shouldn't call them temples. In both the shrine and the tabernacle. As a matter of fact, the only noticeable difference is the Japanese Shinto shrine did not have a place for animal sacrifices. Here's another diagram of a Japanese Shinto shrine for you to look at. These similarities are undeniable. Now, you all know that I am a big language guy. You all know that I like to study the Hebrew, and you know that I am becoming more and more familiar with the ancient Hebrew language and script. So now I want to show you this other diagram that is showing you some of these blatant similarities between the Japanese and the Hebrew. If you look at this diagram, you will notice that many of not only the way that they draw the script, but also the phonetic sounds correlate. And when you start to study this thing, even some of the meanings carry over. So now I want to take it a step further, and I want to show you some similarities between some specific words in Japanese and the words in Hebrew. Agata Nushi is how you would say group leader in Japanese. In Hebrew, it is Agata Nashi. Agata in your Strongs in the Hebrew is number 92. Agata has the word Gad in it. Remember, the word Gad goes back to a troop. So this is the word for group or band. And the second part of this term, Nashi, in the Hebrew is 5387. It means one who is properly exalted, a captain or ruler, chief, prince, leader. So again, these are the words for group leader. And the words for group leader in Japanese is Agata Nushi. And in Hebrew, it's Agata Nashi. And family, this is not the only similarity. Let's look at the Japanese word for burn. The Japanese word for burn is yakido. Yakido is the Japanese word for burn. In Hebrew, this same word is yakad. Yakad. And in the Strongs, in the Hebrew, it is 3344. Yakad. And it means the same thing. To burn or to kindle or be kindled. Let's look at yet another similarity. Let's look at the word you in Japanese. In Japanese, the word you is anta. Anta. And it is almost the same in Hebrew. In Hebrew, there are various variations on the word you, of how you say it. But in your Strongs, it is Hebrew 859. It is 859. And these are all the variations of it. Ata, Ada, Ata, Ati, Atim, Atin, Atana, atin na. And this is simply the word you. It is how you would say you. Isn't this an amazing similarity? But that's not all. I can't even think of Japan without also thinking of the samurai. For the Japanese, a samurai was a retainer. He was one who served his master, who guarded his master, and who kept watch. This word samurai in Hebrew in your Strongs is 8104, and the word is shamar. It says it means generally to protect, to attend to look, save, wait, and watch, to keep guard, observe, and to give heed. So a watchman is a samurai. So now all of you Hebrews out there who say that you are watchmen, now you can say that you are a samurai. And family, I got another one for you. The Japanese say hazakashimi to mean disgrace or humiliation. And the term hadakshim in Hebrew means to tread down the name. You see that? So hazakushimi means to disgrace or humiliation, to bring disgrace. And hadakshim in Hebrew means to tread down the name. The first part of that term, hadakshim, hadak in Hebrew in your Strongs is 1915, and it means to tread down. And the second part of that, Shem, where we're very familiar with Shem, we've gone into this word and really broken it up the way that we break up the words to rightfully divide the word of truth. And I couldn't do that this lesson because we just had too many terms we were going into. But Shem in the Strongs, in the Hebrew, is 8034. And of course we understand that Shem means name. So now you can understand how the Japanese were able to get hazakushimi, which means to bring disgrace or humiliation, and hadakshim in Hebrew means to tread down the name. Because literally, how do you tread down a name? Well, you bring disgrace or humiliation upon the name. Now family, I want to share another really cool thing about the Japanese language with you. And I may not even be able to call it the Japanese language. Just let me tell you what it is that they do. In Japan, it is common to count things and say hi, fu, mi, yo, itsu, mu, nana, ya, kokono, towo. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing those right because I haven't taken a single Japanese language class. But it is common for them to count things and to say these words. Now, people in Japan believe that this phrase originates from a story about a goddess who is said to manage the sunlight. The goddess goes into a heavenly cave, and when she does, the world becomes dark. Now, this phrase, hi, fu, mi, yo, itsu, mu, nana, ya, kokono, towo, does not appear anywhere in the story, but the people simply believe that it comes from the story. So they associate this counting thing that they do with this story. But here's the kicker. The Japanese do not know what these words mean. So when they say the words hi, fu, mi, yo, itsu, mu, nana, ya, kokono, towo, They don't know what they mean. They only know that they do it when they are counting, and that is just something they associate with counting. This is similar in the English to the way that we say 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, shut the door, 5, 6, pick up sticks, 7, 8, lay them straight, 9, 10, a big fat hen. So we all said that as children when we were learning how to count things. This is a similar thing that they do, but there is one big difference. Any preschool or kindergarten age child who sings that little rhyme, any of them can tell you what it means to buckle their shoe. They understand that 1 and 2 are numbers. They understand what it means to lay them straight. They understand what a big fat hen is. They can break down the meaning of this little rhyme that is associated with counting here in America. But if you were to ask the Japanese what that means, any of those children, they couldn't tell you literally what this means. They just would say, I don't know. It means to count, but they don't know what it means. So this thing that they say when they count has been passed down from family to family, from generation to generation, and it has survived throughout the ages, but they don't know what it means. Well, when you break it down phonetically and place the same sounds with their Hebrew counterparts, then a meaning begins to take shape. In the Hebrew, it would look like this. Hayafa mi yotsa ma nane yakina tawo. And what does that mean? Well, in the Hebrew, it translates to, who shall bring out beautiful? What words shall we say for her to come out? That is a literal translation of what it means. So the Japanese, who associate this with a story about a woman that goes into a cave, and this woman is a goddess who brings out the sun. She manages the sunlight. So this phrase where it says that it means, who shall bring out beautiful? What word shall we say for her to come out? Well, they're talking about the sun. They're talking about bringing the sun out. Why? Because it is the sun, it is Oriel, that illuminates the world. Now, of course, we understand that the light of the world is Messiah. And there's a beautiful correlation that we've gone into when we studied Oriel, the Holy Watcher. We studied the Irkadeshi, we studied Oriel. If you guys haven't seen the breakdowns we did on each of the Irkadeshi, they're in a playlist on my channel. Check them out. Or you guys can go to www.anokised.com and you can click on the site index, and there you can very quickly go to any of the topics that I've gone into on the website, and there is a breakdown on the Irkadeshi, and I am currently getting up all of the Dekadarchi. I don't quite have them done yet, but there's not enough time in the day. So going back to this thing that the Japanese say when they count, isn't it amazing that they don't know what it means? But if they were simply to study Hebrew, they would be able to make that connection. I wonder how many of them had that question in their head. I wonder what this means. Well, for the answer, you only have to look into your ancient origins, because it is clear and apparent when you start studying that you came from the Israelites. Now, family, we understand that the Israelites, we consisted of 12 tribes back in the day. And we understand that we were divided. We were divided between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. So, family, when we started this teaching, when we started this lesson, we read out of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13. So we understand that that was talking about the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes. And family, we understand that when you start to study the different routes they went, you know that there were some of them that did actually go on the land across the Eurasian continent. So now, family, I want to show you some proof that the 10 tribes traveled in this way. And all we have to do is take a look at what they left behind, the remnants. So, family, let's look at these people called the Yusufzai. They live in Afghanistan. Yusufzai means children of Joseph. They have customs there of the ancient Israelites. Let's move right along. Let's look at the Pathans. The Pathans, they live in Afghanistan and Pakistan. They have customs of circumcision on the 8th day, fringes of robe, Sabbath, kashrut, tefillin, etc. So these people also have Israelite customs. Let's move right along to the Kashmiri people. In Kashmir, they have the same land names as were in the ancient northern kingdom of Israel. They have the feast of Passover and the legend that they came from Israel. So you see, you understand what's happening? You're seeing the remnants of these people. But let's keep going. The Canaanites in India. There are people, y'all know there were people in India called Canaanites? They spell it Kanites. But in India, these Canaanites, which means people of Canaan, well, they speak Aramaic and use the Aramaic Bible. And family, you understand that the land that was Canaan, well, that became land that was given to us. That became Israel. But family, that's not all that's in India. Let's keep going. Let's look at the Manasseh tribe. In Myanmar, Burma, and India live the Manasseh tribe. Manasseh is Manasseh. And the Manasseh tribe is said to be the descendants from the tribe of Manasseh, one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And they have ancient Israelite customs. Now, family, moving right along, let's move into China. Let's take a look at the Chiang Min tribe. They live in China and they have ancient Israelite customs. They believe in one God and have oral tradition that they came from the far west. They say that their ancestor had 12 sons. They have customs of Passover, purification, many customs of the ancient Israelites. Then, family, moving along, if you go to Kaifeng, China, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of these names right, but if you go to Kaifeng, China, it is known that there has been a large Jew community there since the time of Messiah. Actually, since before the Messiah. And of course, last but not least, if if you go any further east, then you will arrive in Japan. So family, you can Google all these different peoples. You can Google them and read this information on the internet. This is information that is out there. By the way, family, if you look at the map of these locations, you will notice that a lot of these cities seem to sit along what is known as the Silk Road. The Silk Road was a network of Eurasian trade routes active from the 2nd century until the middle of the 15th century. It started way in China, and then it just crept over. It crept over westward. I'm not going to go into a deep study on that right now, but I find it very interesting. But for now, let's go ahead and get into part 2 of this presentation. Let's take a look at Shinto and Shabua. So let's do a recap on Shabua for the new people. I know y'all that listen to my lessons every time we have a lesson. I know you have an understanding of Shabua, but this will be good for you to hear as well. So Shabua, I like the way Peezee says it, Shabuwa, Shabua. Oh, by the way, y'all, if y'all have not been watching Peezee at Real Judah, if y'all have not been watching his breakdowns on the 24 high priests, if you guys have not been watching that, you need to watch it. It is going to give you so much more understanding. It is going to round out your understanding about the 24 high priest. And so I'll link to the first video he did in the description. And he's doing them in a series, so he's not done with them. But you all should definitely check out those videos that he's doing. They are amazing. Okay, now let's get on with this Shabua recap. So the religion established by the Messiah with our first parents is called the religion of Shabua. This is why the Bible uses the term true religion. The word Shabua in the Strong's in the Hebrew is 7620, and it means 7th week of years. It comes from, in the Strong's, number 7650, Shabah, which means to be complete, to seven oneself, or to swear as if by repeating a declaration 7 times, thus making the oath complete and irrevocable. The religion of Shabua is a covenant of bonding and rich fellowship between the Ir Kodeshi and the righteous. Because of this, the religion of Shabua is the mother religion underlying all the world's native righteous peoples. It is the fountain of all truth and of the living water pouring out of Eden to empower all the children of light during the course of the earth. It is the supreme example of the source of all holy religious worship and ways of living. It is the bond of affection between the Ir Kodeshi and righteous mankind with its roots in Elda. And new people, if you don't have an understanding of what Elda is, then I suggest you go back into prior lessons, because we've spoken about what Elda is. It is the place where the Most High resides. He is in Elda, and we were created there. We were created, our spirits were created in Elda. And so the Messiah, who is our Redeemer, well, to redeem is to bring back. So understand that we're trying to make it back into Elda, in the presence of the Father. Okay, family, so I hope that recap brought some understanding to you about what Shabua is. Now, family, Shinto, the Shinto religion of Japan, is an ancient Japanese religion that incorporates the worship of ancestors and nature spirits and belief in a sacred power. And family, this information is coming straight from Google because I don't know anything deeply about Shinto. Now, before we go forward, for the new people, I should explain what the Irkodeshi are, who the Irkodeshi are. So let's talk about the Irkodeshi for the new people. The number of all the watchers of the earth are said to be numbered about 600, and they are grouped together in broad ways. For example, all of the mountains are one watcher, all of the hills are another, all of the trees another, and so forth. But about 200 of them fell away from God and followed Semihaza, that's the devil, and they are represented by 20 leaders. And the others who were faithful to God number about 400, and they are represented by 24 leaders. The watchers of holiness are inscribed according to their relationship with the Most High. They are called in heaven the Irkodeshi. Now, new people, if you want in-depth information about these Irkodeshi, you can go to anokisaid.com or you can go to my YouTube, and I have videos on each of them. But I will go ahead and list them now. And so they are Dabariel, fire; Rahaviel, wind; Malakiel, mountains; Ebedel, the rocks; Yatsar, thunder; Barakel, the rain; Regel, the hills; Panel, the rivers; Kabodiel, the trees; Abariel, the clouds; Anahiel, the dew; Rachasel, the grass; Sarael, the oceans; Oriel, the sun; Kayal, the fountains; Shemael, the animals; Chaphatiel, the fruit of trees; Emethiel, the moon; Adahiel, Enoch's calendar; Chadashel, the springtime; Osherel, the summer; Gavael, the fall; Shabbathiel, the winter; Rakaphiel, the stars. So those are how the Irkodeshi are grouped together in broad ways. And those are the names of the 24 elders. Now let's take a look at some correlations between Shabua and Shinto. Let's go to Psalm 42 and let's read verse 4. We're going to Psalm 42 and we're going to read verse 4. It says, "When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me. For I had gone with the multitude. I went with them to the house of God with the voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept holy day." And family, the reason why we went to that word holy day is to show you an amazing correlation. Now, family, we have taken a look at this verse before, and we have gone into this word holy day, and we understand how this word breaks down. In the Hebrew, this word is kagag, kagag. In the Strongs, it is 2287. And we understand that this word is the same word as Haggai. It's just a different way of pronouncing it. But it's the same word as Haggai. And we understand that this word means to dance in a circle. So the word for holy day means to dance in a circle. The Brown Driver Briggs definition says to hold a feast, hold a festival, make pilgrimage, keep a pilgrim feast, celebrate, dance, stagger. It means to reel to and fro. Well, family, just as in Shabua we have holy days, we have high feast days, high holy days, we have Kagag, Well, in the Shinto religion, they have Kagura. And a Kagura, notice the similarity to Kagag and Kagura. A Kagura is a dance for the gods. It is a sacred Japanese dance of music and ritual dedicated to the gods of Shinto. Since ancient times, it has been performed at regional festivals as a ceremony to pray for a good harvest and to ward off natural disasters. Isn't that amazing? I would go as far as to say that the words Kagura and Kagag are the same words, both in sound and function. Now, family, a few minutes ago, we just went over the Ir-Kodeshi, the list of the 24 elders, the holy watchers. We don't worship the holy watchers. We don't worship the Ir-Kodeshi, but we worship with the Ir-Kodeshi. We worship alongside the holy watchers. They love the Messiah like we love the Messiah. As a matter of fact, they love the Messiah better than a whole lot of y'all love the Messiah. And they have already covenanted in Shabua with Shem. Shem came and called them together. Melchizedek came and helped them to covenant 7 times. Remember we talked about the word Shabua earlier? They covenanted in Shabua. They covenanted 7 times. And so they sealed the deal and they follow the Messiah and the Most High. And there's no backsliding for them. So we worship alongside the Ir-Kodeshi. And it's still all praises to the Most High, our power. In the Shinto religion, they have a belief system of entities called the kami. If you look it up, most sources will tell you that these are the gods of Shinto, or they will use the word deities. But there are some scholars that argue that this is not the best way to describe them, because when they do their studies and really try to understand what the kami are, the answer they keep arriving at is that the kami are simply spirits. So in Shinto, kami are not separate from nature, but are nature, possessing positive and negative and good and evil characteristics. They are part of the interconnecting energy of the universe and are considered exemplary of what humanity should strive toward. In Shabua, the watchers are divided into 2 groups: the Ir-Kodeshi, the holy watchers, and the Dekadarchi, the fallen watchers. The Ir-Kodeshi are the storehouse of the Holy Spirit. So it seems that from this assessment of Shinto, that the word kami is like saying watchers, and it does not separate the good from the bad. So they don't have a term like Ir-Kodeshi and Dekadarchi, but they just refer to all of them as kami. And because of pop culture and things like that, they just get called gods. Now, they do have different words and things for demons like yokai, but we're not going into that right now. But yeah, they use words like tengu and yokai, and that's a different thing. But we're not going to go too deeply into that right now, because I'm not trying to go that deeply into Shinto. I'm simply trying to point out some of these amazing similarities. When we spoke earlier about Shabua on the Shabua recap, we talked about how Shabua is the mother religion. So understand that everything else is watered down. But it's not hard to look at the facts about Shinto and see where the elements of truth were laid in the foundation. Another way of looking at it is you can also see how someone following this religion, and this is true for a lot of religions out there, because you can be in those religions, but if you're truly seeking the Most High, the Messiah will go before you and lead you back to the source. So you can see how someone really searching, even in all of their folly, can start connecting precept upon precept and be led back to the truth. Let's look at another very interesting aspect of Shinto. In Shinto, to be in harmony with the awe-inspiring aspects of nature is to be conscious of the way of the kami. So that's a big thing to them. It's a big thing to be conscious of the way of the kami. Well, in Shabua, walking a path of repentance will lead you to perfection of way. And if you have a question about perfection of way, well, just go back to the words of the Messiah. Go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 48. It says, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." So family, you are supposed to be striving for perfection. Marinate on that. Now, getting back to what we were talking about. In Shabua, walking a path of repentance will lead you to perfection of way. And one can cross over into Eden with their feelings. It is said that crossing over into Eden is to behold the life in all things. That actually does not sound too different from the way of the kami. Family, that is as deep as we are going to go into Shinto. If any of you are more knowledgeable on this subject, please put things in the comments. Let me hear about what you've heard or what you know. Again, family, you guys check out Peezee's lessons at Real Judah, this series that he is currently doing on the 24 High Priest. It's better than Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s. Just make sure you have your pen and paper ready because you're going to be taking a lot of notes. Also, family, y'all check out Teshuba's channel. Some of y'all might know him as Doski. He is bringing fire insight for those who want to walk in the old ways, in the old paths. With that said, family, remember that I love each and every one of you. The Wada, Kai, all praises to Anoki said, Bahashem Motsa, the Lamb. This is little son Sabal saying much love and much shalom.